Okay, so this is for the skill assignment number 1, and I'm Tyler Duncan. I'm sitting here with my client Carrie Barr.
Hello.
Okay, so how can I help you today?
Well, I'm coming in today because I'd like to talk to you about some of my career choices.
Okay.
I have just completed my undergraduate degree from Queen's University in psychology and linguistics, and after finishing that was actually 2 years ago, I came to Brock University and I started to take courses to enhance my knowledge in linguistics, and I was hoping to get accepted into the speech pathology program.
Yeah.
But I haven't been accepted yet, and in my time at Brock, I have completed a TESOL, which is Teaching English as a Second Language certificate. And so now I have the issue of whether I should continue my education, and I have applied for the speech pathology again to start in fall of this year, but I'm not sure whether I should teach TESOL or continue on with my education and go on with speech pathology.
Okay. So you're trying to decide between teaching English as a second language with the TESOL program,
Yeah.
or you'd like to pursue the speech pathology.
Mm-hmm.
So that would involve more schooling.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. And how many years is that? Would that be?
It would be 2 extra years. It actually depends on the school. See, I've applied to like 4 different schools, and that's another issue. Is I'm not sure whether some of the schools, some of them are pretty far away, some of them might be too close to home. I'm from the Ottawa area, but I've applied to schools out in Alberta for speech pathology. I've applied in Toronto for speech pathology, and I've also applied in London at Western University for speech pathology. But if I was to start working, there's really no guarantee that I would be able to work close to home either. I would basically have to go and work wherever I can get a job. So that would really, based on location, I guess I can't really solve the problem. But it would be 2 years of schooling if I was to go away to Alberta, Toronto, or London.
Okay, and so you're trying to stay closer to home, sort of thing, like in the not too far.
Not too far. I think if I was to only get accepted into Alberta, I feel like it could be an adventure. It would be exciting. But when I really think about it, I feel like maybe it would be nice to stay close to home, and that way I would have that support, and maybe 2 years of, because 2 years of schooling seems like a lot right now after having already completed 6 years of schooling.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking doing 2 more. I've already been away from my family for about 6 years, that maybe it would be nice to go back and start working and making some money. But if the education is going to help me make more money, then maybe that would be beneficial.
Okay, so what is the end goal, sort of, so you wanted money? Like, is that your, would that be the...
I guess. I think that's what we're all
What job would make the most money? Is that what you'd be...
I think,
more
well,
apt to
because
choose?
I'm interested in both. I think if I was definitely more interested in one over the other, it would just automatically be the one that I'm more interested in. But because I find them both interesting in different ways and for different things, I think it's like, well, I might as well go for whichever one makes more money.
Yeah.
But there are probably, that's a good point, because there are probably things that I like about each job more. Speech pathology I like because it is a science and it's accredited, and there's lots of research showing how to do the job well. But in a way, I like how TESOL isn't quite so science-based, because it allows for, like, I could make my own lesson plans and I can be creative and do what I think will help the students best.
Okay. Okay. So what would the downsides be of either of them? So if you got into this speech pathology...
The downsides of speech pathology would be that I would have to be in school for 2 more years. That kind of seems like a downfall right now. As much as the education would be a benefit, being in school for 2 more years is a lot of time. And I think one of the biggest downfalls is that I'm continuing to pay money as opposed to make money.
Yeah.
When you're in school, you're busy with schoolwork. You can't really, I've never really had a job on the side when I'm in school.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have an income that would be the downsides to speech pathology. And there's the fact too that if, say, I only got accepted in Alberta, I would be far from home.
Yeah.
The downsides to starting to teach, well, there aren't really that many, I guess. Just that potentially I might look back in 5 years and regret that I hadn't continued my education.
Yeah. For the TESOL certificate, do you know if there's a lot of jobs right now for that?
I actually have
opposed to the speech
pathology. There actually seems to be, at this point, more jobs with the TESOL stream. So speech pathology, I've talked to a few speech pathologists with my volunteer work and with my professors and everything, and they seem to think that a lot of the work with speech pathology is part-time, and that a lot of the speech paths are going from place to place just to get full-time work, because across 2 places or whatever. And I think
you just want to be in one location type
I think
of thing?
so. I think if I'm going to start my life, it'd be nice to have get a house and be settled and start things. Even if it's really not in the city I want, at least I'm settled there for a couple years, and then I can move on to somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking those jobs aren't a definite full-time either, but I think that they would pay enough that even if it wasn't full-time, you could just do part-time. I mean, so would the speech path though. But I think I would get more, I feel like I might be leaning more towards TESOL.
Okay. Because what it sounds to me right there is you'd be spending a lot of time, traveling time, which costs money unless you're paid for, as opposed to the TESOL, which is just at a certain location.
Yes.
And probably full-time as opposed to the part-time.
Yeah. I think if I was to sign a contract for teaching, it would likely be full-time. I can't imagine many schools being run part-time, unless of course just the teachers are part-time, which I guess would be the case. But most of the jobs that I've been looking at have been full-time or part-time enough that it doesn't matter.
Okay. So I guess to summarize everything, you had so it's either just making the choice from to teach English as a second language or to continue with your schooling
in a different area.
Yeah, and if you were to do that, you'd be paying more still, and as opposed to not making money, which we'd be doing with TESOL. So it comes down to it is what your goal is and your end goal. So if it's for the money, you wouldn't be doing that right away with the speech pathology, but later on you may
make more money.
Yeah. So it may be worth it in the end. But for the TESOL, you'd be making money right now, and you'd have a job to be able to settle down, and then maybe later on you could go back to school.
Yeah.
To get your speech pathology, become a speech pathologist.
Exactly. I'm thinking what I could do is, especially since now we're coming up to the summer, I would hope to get a summer job with TESOL. And if the summer job leads into a full-time job, maybe I would just go with that. Whereas if I'm still stuck in September without anything to do, then that would be my sign that I'm supposed to go to school.
Back to school if you didn't get a job.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Let's go see.
The other option too is I could go back to school and further my TESOL.
Okay, how would you further your TESOL?
Well, what I have now is a TESOL certificate, but what I could also do is continue my TESOL and do a TESOL master's, which adds a whole other thing to the question, because the TESOL, what I have now, I can teach, but most of the jobs that I would get would be part-time.
Okay.
Whereas if I get my master's in TESOL, I would be more eligible for jobs that are like director type positions, or even full-time positions, and I could work. I think there'd be a better chance of working my way up to a higher position if I did get my master's.
Okay.
And also with my master's, I could continue, like I really enjoy doing research, and I think I could continue to do some research, maybe publish some papers, publish some work, create some materials
Mhm.
and have that, which maybe if I was to do TESOL, I would want to do my master's later on. That would just be another option that, say I did get a summer job and it ended up that I didn't do speech path, but I kept working at TESOL.
Okay.
Maybe a few years down the road, maybe that would be an option for later on, because at that point I would have some experience. I would know whether it's the job for me.
Mhm. So if you were to do that route, how many years would the TESOL master's program be?
It's just 1 year.
It's 1 year as opposed to the 2
As
years
opposed to the
speech
2.
pathology.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I feel like if we're going back to the goal of money, that maybe the 1 year you're not spending as much money,
Mhm.
and the outcome might be as good, because
Yeah.
as I said before, speech pathology jobs, there aren't as many to begin with.
Mhm.
Most of them are part-time.
Mhm.
Whereas the TESOL, if I was to do the master's, which is only 1 year,
Mhm.
I think it would open up a lot of opportunities for not only part-time but full-time, and fairly well paid.
Yeah.
I'm hoping anyway. So
Okay.
yeah.
So overall from today's lecture
Meeting.
sorry, so it almost sounds like you're leaning more towards the TESOL program because it
so.
suits you more. Like it's for financial reasons, for family. So I think that would be the goal you're leaning towards.
I think so too.
Yeah. Okay. So are you good? You think we're
I
good
think
today?
so. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.